Do you need me to do anything else, Dominique?
Oh, no, just call. So the meeting's been called to order. So
The meeting has been called.
okay, great. All right. So now, let me just take this off real quick. All righty. So there we go. See you guys all. So now, approval of minutes.
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay. All right, quick roll call vote for approval of minutes.
Any discussion or questions first?
So, that's right, sorry. Any discussion or questions about the minutes from the February 18th meeting? Anyone? Okay, I don't see any virtual hands and no one say anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick roll call vote for approval of the minutes from the February 18th meeting. Committee Chair Mayor Strickland?
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Jenkott?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Burnsworth?
I'm going to abstain since I was not in attendance.
Okay, thank you. Committee Co-Chair Khaled?
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Hasseltine?
I'm going to abstain as well. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay, all right, so okay, so we have 3 yes for approval of the minutes from the February 18th and 2 abstentions. Okay, next on the agenda. Program format for the virtual ceremony. So anyone want to have any comments, anything they want to start off with? I know, I guess the biggest question right now is if we're going to go with the format that the Urban League followed with their presentation, which I shared with the entire commission. I also shared that with Valerie with the communications office to see how feasible it was. And she said it is something they could do because they have a studio and they could schedule times for people to come in and videotape their speech or whatever portion of the program they will be responsible for. It's just a matter of how many people are going to be coming in because they're going to have to adjust the schedule accordingly. So we don't minimize the number of people in that space at one time due to COVID and timing.
Why do we have to go into the studio? We can't do it from our recording ourselves. Is that something Valerie said she'd prefer, or?
But
So,
it's really up to us. I pitched her the first proposed format, which was to do like our Human Rights Day video. And then when Joe brought up suggested the alternative format that the Urban League did, I pitched that to Valerie as well. And she said it all depends on what we want to do.
And
so, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. With that, not all of it was videotaped.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few segments that were live. The keynote speech, the chair's speech, the introductions, and the remarks of the recipient were all taped. The MC was live. And kind of served as a live transition piece for each of it.
Right.
So
thank you, Commissioner Burns. I have a virtual hand up by Vice Chair Jenkott. Vice Chair Jenkott, you can go ahead.
Hey, yeah, I'm just going to speak out of turn anyway. So, I had a chance to look over that presentation. Joe, thanks for that good reference. Now, and so I kind of jotted down how they did their format. And Sylvia, when you look at it, you'll see why the suggestion was to use, one suggestion is to use that podium. It really formalizes it, makes it really, really nice looking. But okay, so just in general, if you go and look at the presentation, you got to go in about 18, 20 minutes on it to see where it starts And then they had the MC, they opened with a prayer, national anthem. They had Luria, Bobby Scott, Louise Lucas talk. Then they had a segment talking about the Urban League, which is very, very different than the HRC. The Urban League is a boots on the ground community interactive group, and they have projects that go on, and they advocate causes. So they're very different than us. And I think that's good to look at what they do and how we could fill the spot about what the HRC is about, because that would be one spot. And then they introduced the different awardees. They spoke very briefly, and ended with a benediction by Rabbi Rosalind. So it was quite lengthy. It was beautiful. They're very different than us, and so I think to see how we could. It's like we're like small town peanuts compared to them.
Right.
I kind of watched it in conjunction with the homeless visual to kind of use a comparable between what they did and something like that.
Mhm.
And I thought that, like Joe said, they broke it up between some being live, some being recorded video. I thought that things like the welcome, the remarks, the introduction to the honorees, and the closing remarks could be done in the communication office studio, and then things like the keynote speaker and their honorees could be done from video. That's just keeping in mind that some people, like the keynote speaker, for example, if it is who Beatrice suggested, Dr. Underwood, travel, it might be easier for her to just take a video of herself and submit that. For the honorees, they're coming from such a diverse group. Some people may not feel comfortable coming into the studio and would feel more comfortable doing the video. Whereas those doing the welcome and remarks, if one person, they could be right there. A lot of times, if we do the mayor for the welcome, he's right in that building. He can go down the hallway and do it, or down, I think they might be on the second floor. I'm not sure where their office is located. If we do remarks being Councilman Bellucci, he's frequent flyer in that building. He can go to their office, record it, and, not going out of his comfort zone. And now for the in-person introductions from the commissioners, that might be another comfort zone thing too. It would all depend on, which commissioners would be comfortable going into the office, communications office. But I think it just would be a more consistency if we had like the welcoming remarks and introductions done on site.
And that 18 minutes that Ginger talked about, that was all from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. It was just a slideshow that kept running, just so that anybody who came early didn't have to sit there and look at a blank screen. And when we just did our fundraiser, our virtual wine tasting, we did that very same thing. We had a slideshow that ran up front. It was easy to create, and it just ran over and over and over again, so that anybody who was there had something to look at. And in this case, it told the story of Martin Luther King. In our case, it told the story of Green Run Collegiate. So you can put it, that's very easy to put together. And certainly we would want to do all those pieces that they did. It really is, it would be very similar to our live presentation that David led the first year I was on the commission, but just in a virtual format. It could all easily be pre-recorded. As I said, I just did a hybrid one that was partially recorded, partially live, and it worked really well, and it's pretty seamless. The transitions are pretty seamless, and we were doing it as amateurs. If the production office was doing it, I'm sure it would look even better. Because they're used to doing that. They do that with graduations now, where they put all the speeches on video ahead of time of principals and assistant principals and salutatorians and valedictorians spliced in with the live segments of the graduation itself, or last year the videotapes of the graduation, so it was all blended. And just a suggestion, a way to keep the format that we love and honor people. And I will tell you, I've done just a ton of research heading into my virtual event. And you want nothing that lasts more than 60 minutes. And if you can get it to 50 minutes, it's even better, because you lose people at about 50 minutes. So unless you're having entertainment or something exciting at the end of it to keep people going.
I agree. I got my hand up. I'm just going to butt in too. I totally agree. And one of the things that I want to make sure that we understand is we have the mayor and Bellucci who will want to say something, either be greeters or other things. And we always, at least in the past, we have recognized our 19 commissioners. I would like to be able, we need to have all 19 commissioners to take part in it. At least that's my feel. And we have recognition of the staff support without whom we couldn't go forward, which includes, Dominique and Rod Ingram and those people. And then we have our liaisons who also need recognition. So I'm wondering if we do with the nominations that we have, assuming, let's say we just have 10 to pick a number. I'm just picking a number. Do we need a keynote speaker with all of that, with introducing 10 nomination or awardees, and then they receiving them and giving their little speech? Somebody do the math for me, but if that's like 2-3 minutes each, we're kind of at an hour, aren't we?
Yeah, with 10 awardees, that's 30 minutes, and a 3-minute speech, that's 30 minutes right there.
Just for the awardees.
Mm-hmm.
So-
With their, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking about what you're saying with the commissioners. I think, so if we've got the commissioners, and let's say we have 10 awardees, that could take up 10 commissioners introducing them. And the other 9 or 7 or 9, depending on the students attend, they could take up, like, each saying a sentence a piece about what we write about what the Human Rights Commission is. And then we popcorn through them in that way, put their name up, and that is, that keeps people's attention and it's moving. And not so much like we had with the other video of a long speech for each person. Just throwing ideas out.
Right, that's why we usually went up in pairs, so that the commissioners got a chance to be on stage, or in this case on camera, and say something. So there was that play off each other. I suppose we could do that with split screens, making sure that they have a part to say.
Well, in our last award ceremony, the commissioners that came up to a awardee, they didn't give a speech. They
read
No.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, just reading the nomination.
Commissioner Burnsworth has his virtual hand up, so I'm going to open up his mic. Commissioner Burnsworth?
Thanks, Dominique. And Sylvia, when you get a chance to watch that that video, and I have to tell you, I fashioned our event much after this one too. We did for our donors and our contributors that gave us auction items. If we put a slide in that had their name up, so that as someone after an awardee, for example, was introduced and they gave their speech, they would do a thank you slide that talked about that it shared something about one of their major donors, and it was up there for 30 seconds, maybe.
Not
But
even.
you could do that with the people you want to thank and the liaisons and the staff. You could spread them out on a slide during the event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Urban League has something similar, except for all the slides were in the beginning.
Right.
And another thing that they did was they put a slide introducing each honoree between each honoree too. So that's something I think we could have in there too. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Heseltine. Commissioner Heseltine, your mic is open.
Thank you. I'm like most of you that I love the Urban League video. Certainly think it can be done. I'd prefer. I think it just looks more polished and professional if we can do it there in the studio. I think you could. I mean, like I know last year we came up with 2 people. And you could easily, one start talking and then the other fade in, and the words could overlap for a few seconds. I mean, you could do some really creative stuff so I think it's also just a matter of like start writing a rough script of what your TikTok looks like, and but I'm all for doing it there.
Now, here's my question about doing it there, because Joe, you said have it live. So everyone would be at their studio just ready to get on camera. Is that what you're saying? Or they come in on separate times of the day, through the course of a month, for example, and do their recording, and then those recordings are all combined into one video. Is that what you're talking about, Joe, or something different?
I know that, yes, and that's what Carl is shaking.
Okay, yep, I see. I just want to make sure, we're not going to have like everyone in the waiting room coming in the video, just so I'm clear on what I'm relaying to Valerie.
Yeah,
So,
and they are so savvy that with video production that if I went in at 10 o'clock and had the first part of the speech and David came in at 10:15 and had the second part of the introduction, they could splice it so well that we would never know the difference.
Exactly. I wasn't sure if the Urban League did like a waiting room kind of situation, but now I'm clear on that. So that's perfect. Okay, so I guess it's just a matter of deciding what parts are going to be in person, what parts are going to be video kind of situation. Well, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. We got a small group, so
Okay.
we don't have to worry about too much interference.
I know. I just wanted to. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but we never expected any of this. So with the new variants and everything in December, I really, in my heart of hearts, hope that we could all be in person and do it in person. But since we've already dedicated ourselves to do this, that's one thing. But we could be on lockdown in December again, for all we know. It's not anything that we can predict. So we should. I like the idea of the studio, and I think that's a good idea. But then in the back of our minds, we need to maybe be thinking, and then some people may not even be vaccinated by then, or and that combination that Joe was talking about, I think, is good. So anyway, just want to throw that out there to make sure that we're covered.
Yeah, and I thought took that into account too, because once a selection is made and the whole commission votes on the nominees, that's, according to our timeline, we have that happening in May. We could be in their studio, filming as soon as June. So
right. Like I have a niece who, she doesn't meet the age qualifications or anything else to get a vaccination. I think she went to a hospital to get it because she hasn't been out of the house, she or her husband, since last March. Literally haven't been out, and some of our awardees may be in that position.
Exactly. And that's why I was thinking, you know, I don't know if we want to give them an option or just go for the awardees at least, or just go ahead with having them submit it, something that they take themselves. I don't know, because there's so many variants with this COVID thing we have to take into consideration.
Yeah, I talked to Mark Johnson, who was one of the Urban League awardees, and he said that they started their videos in the fall, and it was when cases were starting to pick up, and so they set it up so there were two people. They did it at the Attucks Theater. They did it on site, and there were two people there.
Okay.
The crew went up and set up the lights and the sound and everything. The only people who were there was the awardee and the camera person.
Okay.
That was it. And so they didn't have to worry about a crowd. They didn't have with the camera, you don't even have to worry about 6 feet or less, because, you know, so we can do it very safely. And
so do we want to, in that case, do we want to give the awardees an option? Because we're saying they just don't feel comfortable.
I think we have to give them an option, don't you? I mean, if they really don't want to come out, there really are a lot of people who've gone nowhere. So.
And that's what is in my head, that I know some people just simply, even if they are vaccinated, some people simply just don't feel safe, and they have every right to feel that way. So we want to take that in consideration.
I think so. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that our nominees are typically going to be people who are out in the community and they're already on the move. And also, I think it's going to be, I don't think there are going to be many that would oppose it. We don't know who these folks are yet, if we're even going to have 10. So I think we talk about it going into the studio, and then as a case comes up, then we think of an alternative.
Okay.
Because I'd like to see it be real smooth and clean in the same environment. So yeah, of course, the option would be there.
yeah, I just don't think you lead with it.
No, I don't think.
Right.
Right. And it wouldn't be. I'm almost positive it's going to be the mayor that wants to open up Bellucci and that kind of stuff. So, and they're, like you said, they're right down the hall from. I guess that's where the studio is now.
I've never been. I have no idea where it has ever been to it. Is it on the first floor, second floor?
Beats me. The last time I was in the studio, it was down in the vocational center on North Landing Road.
Oh,
so,
so it's not in building 1?
That's what it used to be.
Yeah, the last time I was videotaped, it was over at the Advanced Technology Center.
Right. That's what
on the TCC campus. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's number 1 for me. Find out where the studio is.
I think that's where they are now, Joe. I think. You're right.
So what's our next step, Dominique?
So I guess our next step is, the program. How do we want that structured? Who do we want to do certain tasks of the program? So then I know who to reach out to. Like, hey, we're doing this. Can you, are you available to schedule time to record at this time? So on and so forth. Because I'm thinking, go to Valerie with maybe asking her availability starting in June of when people can come in and start recording. So once I have their availability, then I can go to those that we want to participate in the video to ask them, hey, here's the time slots we have. where can you fit in? We'll know who the honorees are then by at that time, so can fill those into the time slot. So I guess now, like I said, just figuring out the structure of the program as far as the speaking parts and who we want to do those speaking parts.
Okay, I'm looking at October 2019, the actual program that we
Yep.
had all typed out, and that could be our starting point.
I'm looking at the same one too. So the music section, we're not going to have that.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
I mean, we certainly could tap into one of the school's music, see what they have going on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the reason why we couldn't record that also.
Okay.
So then who takes the lead on updating this program narrative?
Who wants to do it? Okay. Dominique, I think you're doing it.
Okay.
No.
So music question, welcome. Do we still want to go with what we spoke on in the last meeting? Do the welcome as the mayor?
I think so.
Sure.
I can't remember did you open David last year or the mayor?
I thought you opened.
Sylvia,
That's
you
the chair.
open.
You did the welcome,
Okay,
yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
well, let's go with the mayor. I'll just take whatever part there is.
Okay.
I really do want to get all of the commissioners in, though. It's we worked hard to get that back in the program rather than just having the chair do everything.
Okay. Next was presentation of colors.
Oh, yes, we need to do that.
Do you want to have someone sing the national anthem instead?
When they could do it with the color guard, I assume, since the color guard is kind of maybe a little bit, I shouldn't say boring to watch on video, but it might be. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
I know one of the other meetings I go to once a month, they just, well, it's different though, but they just show a photo of a waving flag, and everybody, you say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then it's done. But I think, I mean, and I don't want to make it too simple or hard, but it's like, let's either do music, which would be really cool. That'd be super nice to be able to do with a high school band, or the presentation of colors in a more elaborate fashion. I think once we start adding in all, let's do this, I think it's going to get really time be a time suck for, and don't say that word for me, okay? But it's just going to really, I think we're making it hard when we don't have to.
And music, you really can't do music live because it's so hard to get the correct sound.
Oh, the acoustics and
Yeah, and even videotaping music and getting the sound right, unless you are really good at it. So I'm kind of with Carla and Ginger. If you're do it, but keep it simple. And
What did we do last year? Did we do the national anthem or just color guard? We must have done the national anthem. Who sang it? Do we remember? I have brain fog. I don't remember, but.
And I'll say this, David, it was a great program, and the high points for me were Mr. Jones. I just thought that, to hear him speak, and so, again, if this is going to, certainly by doing it by video instead of live, it's going to take a lot more time for everybody, and it's going to have more demands. But I think if we have another dynamic speaker, that's more important than maybe something else. I mean, you all judge, but I said, I don't remember whether we sang or I don't remember any of that, but I remember Mr. Jones.
Yeah, he was great.
We had the color guard, and then we did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge, okay. But how do we wouldn't be all standing to do that. So do we need any of that to, the pledge or the song? Do we feel that we need it?
I don't think we need it.
What do you guys think?
I don't think we need it.
I think just maybe in the beginning, just show, like you said, a picture, a video of a flag waving, and that kind of says it all. We're at some point.
Here, we could play the national. No, we don't do the national anthem. Yeah, we could just show a flag and say the pledge, or just.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because of where we were and the way the program was, it lent itself to the presentation of colors or standing or whatever. But I don't think it's a make or break. So I mean, I would either just say the pledge or cut the whole thing.
And so say the pledge, and one person says the pledge in the mic on the while the flag is there. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And they do it in front of a flag if we and just stand there.
In front of the flag, whatever.
And you can check. You have a commissioner.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're scratching the music, the live music in the beginning, correct? Okay, and we're starting with the welcome by the mayor, then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well,
We're going to do that
we
before.
have to back. Let me tell you what we did last time, the order. We did that, the pledge, Sylvia introduced Berlucci, Berlucci introduced the mayor. That's what we did last time, just so you know. Okay.
Okay.
And then came David.
Okay, so for this one, we're going to start with the pledge.
I would think that would come first. I think usually if we're in real life, somebody goes to the mic and goes, "Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?" And
Okay.
I think one year that was Kathy, anybody who's up by the mic or who wants to be. So that would be fine. And then whoever does the pledge, like Joe said, we check off one of the commissioners.
Okay, so then that leads to the welcome for the mayor, or someone introducing the welcome for the mayor?
Time, what do you guys think? Introduce the mayor, let him introduce himself? That seems kind of cold, doesn't it?
I think you can have a slide up that says his name and his office and transition right to him.
Okay.
Agreed.
Works for me.
Okay. So then we have Pledge of Allegiance, slide introducing the mayor. The mayor will do the welcome. And after the mayor's welcome.
Did Bellucci introduce the keynote speaker? Is that what he did?
No, he introduced the mayor.
Okay.
David introduced Judge Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did that though, because I had a personal relationship with him. So I think it could be either way.
Okay, so then we have introduction of keynote speaker. And then we have keynote speaker. Who we
So
have.
Bellucci will introduce the keynote speaker. That gets him his check mark done. Because he can say a few words and then whatever words he wants to say, and then introduce the keynote speaker.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So keynote speaker, that is still a question mark. Unless anyone has a suggestion now.
Well, I liked Underwood as a suggestion, but then I've never heard her speak or, well, not long anyway.
So this might be too similar to last time, but Jay Jones is running for Attorney General, and he just got the governor's approval, and he's done some pretty neat things lately. So I don't know if it's too similar to our last speaker, but he's equally as good a speaker, if not better. So maybe we just keep that in our pocket for another time, or if we wanted to do it this time, then we could have Lynn speak the following year if we wanted. No, but I think Jay would be a good choice. Not that we have to go that route, but
I think that would be a little conflicting because then we're getting into politics because he is campaigning.
fair. Good point. That's why we
Yeah.
keep you around.
So when is this
The
program?
kibosh on everything.
It's in December. It's in
Okay.
December. So
All right.
we do have some time to brainstorm on this item still. So okay, so we'll keep a question mark on that one. So after keynote speaker, want to go into remarks from, I don't know, we had Berlucci last time, but since he's introducing the keynote speaker, and maybe during the remarks, it could also be the recognition of the whole HRC body and the staff and so on and so forth. And in that case, did Sylvia, you want to do that?
I can do that and get me out of the way. That would be good.
Okay, so I have remarks. And,
Joe.
you had something,
I was
Joe?
going to say, could Sylvia and Ginger split that with the remarks and then going and Ginger picking up the introduction of
Mhm.
folks
Mm.
and get two?
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia, I'm trying to kick off 19.
I know, and we appreciate that. Good work. What do you think, Ginger? We can split that, whatever it is.
Yep, sure.
Okay, so we got remarks and recognition of the HRC and staff by Sylvia and Ginger.
There's a lot of recognitions, so that's cool.
I kind of like Joe's idea, though. If we put our liaisons, I got a photo of them with their titles, and that's something that we interspersed. It wouldn't be all drawn out and boring like we did last time, was just listing them all. I'm not sure how to make that happen, but because like here's a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14 people, staff and liaisons that you read last time, and I'd like to avoid that.
Do you want to do kind of like what they did the homeless visual after, I think after the pastor spoke, then they started showing the people and with their names. And instead of just having a list of names, have like a picture, name, that kind of thing, and just do a slideshow of that.
Picture and name are good, but hey, you just brought up another thing, an opening prayer. What do you think about that?
Have we done that before? We get ourselves into a
Yes, when we were live, two ceremonies we did. I don't know
Or
if
do
we
we
did.
want to
David,
do
do you
a
remember if we
closing
did
one
one
like
last
the
year? I
urban,
don't see it.
or do we want to do a closing one like the Urban League did, and Rabbi Zimmerman could do that?
Love it.
Check.
And, it's,
We're up to 4.
and Ginger, to your idea about the slides, I think it would be great if we did if you did a verbal of the HRC staff, because they work so hard for us, and then the pictures of and the names of the liaisons, so there's kind of a hierarchy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You got that, Dominique?
So for after keynote speaker remarks from Sylvia and Ginger will say by name that HRC staff and then do slides of the liaisons.
Now, what am I remarking about?
Maybe I don't know, the last couple of years that we've had,
A short history of the
history of the HRC
Sure.
going into the
Sure.
present. Yep.
Because this will be our 26th since we have skipped last year. So the very short history of and why we do it. That's
Okay.
fast.
All right. So then from that point, either Sylvia or Ginger can announce that, now let's just say, for example, the first person that's going to present honorees is Carla. So Commissioner Carla Hesseltine will be presenting our first honoree for the night.
Okay, so we're down to 414. We're down to, how many commissioners are we down to? What do we have left?
Let's see, we had someone do the pledge, and then you and Ginger for the remarks, so we're down to
That's
16.
And Zoberman
16.
for the closing.
And there's Overman for the closing, so we're down to 15.
We might have to double up with commissioners for the awardees.
Right,
Okay,
I agree.
okay. So then we'll go into 2 commissioners doing the introductions, the awardees, cycle through that. And so do we want someone to introduce Rabbi Zoberman for the closing prayer, or just have him do the whole closing? Thank you for joining us, such and such, and then do his prayer, or?
Sure.
Does that take care of, I think we had 10, did we just decide there were 2 commissioners presenting each award?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of
There would be, it's an odd number then. Because we're so we're down, because we have 15 for that.
Well,
So
then,
doubling that up will be an odd number, so.
well, did you take out Rabbi Zoberman after?
Yeah, I did already, because
Okay.
Sylvia, Ginger, and whoever does the pledge, Rabbi Zoberman counts for 4. That brings us down to 15.
Ron usually doesn't like talking, or at least at the
That's
last time
right.
he asked, he didn't want to do it. So
he can stand next to, he stood with Rivera, and also Jojo didn't want to be part of it at all last year. I'll check with him and make sure, but I think we're good on a roll as long as we have a skeleton format, and then we can adjust it accordingly.
Okay.
And then as far as someone introducing the rabbi, whoever was left over, we just shift that, David could do it, Joe could do it, Carla could, anybody could do it.
Okay.
Or we could do what we did with the mayor and have a slide that comes up and says benediction, Rabbi Zoberman,
Okay.
Israel Zoberman.
All right. So as far as the slides, we need to see if we can get a photo of each of the staff members,
Okay.
and then a photo of the liaisons, separate photos.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a problem. I think a lot of staff, like Regina and Rod and Stacy, have their headshots, and a lot of our liaisons are city staff as well, and they have their headshots. So I don't think that's going to be a difficulty.
Right. And then we can use them on our website when we finally get our photos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, bam, done.
All righty. Yay. Okay, here's some questions that I have. So I was thinking I would get with, because human resources, we have a marketing person who, when we were going to do our forum in last March, before everything, the rug was pulled out from under us, he was fashioning a lot of the program and things like that. So I could go to him to do the slides. Are there any kind of color schemes you guys are attached to, or just kind of wing it and see what he can come up with?
Whatever they offer, I mean, they're the experts.
Yeah, and that's like, I have a little creative mind, not as much as I think he probably is, because that's his specialty. So I can just go with him and ask him to send me a few samples and then give it to you guys and go from there. So a background for when we record in their studio. I'm not sure what kind of options they have. Once again, is there something you guys are particularly attached for? We have, because Urban League had their banner, we have banners. We have a horizontal and a portrait banner for the HRC, so we can put those maybe on the podium, maybe next to the person speaking, but any kind of props around, like plants or flowers or anything like that.
This is a segue into, Carla had wanted to revisit the logo and colors and things. The old logo was our bright gold. We had picked that, so when we were down walking the strip, we'd have those big ugly T-shirts so that we looked like targets. You know, it was like, so anyway, your thoughts, Carla?
Yeah, I really would like to present to the commissions the logos that the BCF did that were gorgeous and are much more colorful, and I'd like to, and Dominique, I'd like to be involved as we these, because that's what I have a degree in is graphic design. So I would love to be involved so that that we can kind of build, okay, so this is the typefaces we're going to use, these are the colors we're going to use to make it more cohesive, so that we're not going after somebody works on it to go back and go, oh, change their mind. This is not cohesive with this. And if we just approach it in that way, I think it'll make the process a lot easier.
Yep. Okay, so what I'll do is
loving to change the logo.
What I'll do is when I go to, his name is Jamel, when I go to him to ask him to picture some different kind of backgrounds and such, I'll include you on the email.
Okay, thank you.
And then from whatever he produces, we can use that to go to the communication office to do follow the same fonts and colors for when they put the names and tags and such on the videos.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, I want to bring up something. To the 24th, we had a motto, or I guess a theme, and the Urban League also had a theme. They had a motto, facing forward in the for the future. Ours on the 24th annual was diverse community - one humanity. I don't see that we had a motto last time, so that's something to think about. Just
That's a great idea. To have either a theme or a motto. It's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, gives the community something to hang on.
A threat, right.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. This is from the 24th. It says diverse community, one humanity. That's kind of nice. I don't know if we should continue to use that, but that's a thought. Anyway.
Okay. So maybe that can be an action item along with brainstorming keynote speakers, brainstorm a theme.
Yes. Carla, can you go ahead and schedule a logo committee meeting?
Yes, I'd love to.
Soon, and maybe get it together before our next meeting.
Yeah, I've got him laid out. I've worked on them from what he had them. I've got them in a different format so that everybody could look at them, the ones that I think are viable. And yeah, we can send something out for that tomorrow. I mean, that'd be fine.
Okay.
With you, Dominique.
Yep. So I can do a doodle today.
Yep, that'd be great.
For next week.
Yep.
Okay.
And actually, who I'd like to who I was going to, and I've talked with her about this before already, tag her. She's going to help some of the things that we come up with public affairs. Also, this is maybe her expertise as well, is our newest commissioner. She has a background in journalism and writing, and she might be really, she helped with some PR stuff that we thought we might have to use, and she's really good, really, really good.
So you think maybe she could help us with writing the script?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All righty, I will put that down.
Well, we need to get her on this committee then.
It would be great if somebody wrote all the introductions so that they were consistent in length and style and components.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent, and that's the problem was the scripts didn't get to all the commissioners ahead of time, and even Louis, that was his profession, and he said he didn't like not having his script ahead of time because we all want to plug in our own words in place of somebody else's words. I would say something differently. Sometimes I read the script and I go, this is not me, and it's going to not sound like me. So maybe a skeleton type thing.
Okay. I can work on something like that because I kind of created the script for when we started doing virtual meetings and things like that.
Great.
So I can work on that
Thank you.
and send them out for you all to review, and then make sure they get to the commissioners too, so they could model them the way that they feel comfortable doing. Speaking of scripts, does the mayor do his own script? And
He has a writer.
okay, just want to make sure that, and that'll, having a theme will be make it probably easier for them to be able to write a script for him, so they know what to tailor it to. Okay. I think that's all that I had. Anyone else have anything?
Just any thoughts, you guys, that come to mind? Did we, and this is like a skeleton. There he is. This is like just a skeleton of the format, and then we can plug in.
Right. And that's what I was going to have as an action item for me to type it all up, so we have an outline of what the program will look like, send it to you guys so you can all review it, make sure it's where we want everything to be.
I'm sorry, do we want to do a pre-event slideshow?
I think that's a good idea. If we probably have enough photos of people and HRC stuff. Is that what you're talking about, or you talk about just pretty pictures in general?
Oh, no. I'm talking. We could just take photos of your artwork, Sylvie, and show those, and that would be lovely.
Thank you.
However, but if we collected from commissioners events that they're going to, meetings they're attending, and then pull in some quotes that are inspirational, then we could create a slideshow for the beginning that hopefully that wraps around the theme. And I don't mind working on that. We can reach out to commissioners and ask them to send them. And once Dominique and Carla come up with what it's going to look like, then we'll create a slideshow with photos and quotes and things.
I like it. Nice.
Okay, so I have action items. I'm gonna put together, type up the whole program and send that out just for approval, and so we can all have eyes on it. I'm going to get with Jomel, our marketing guy, to see if he can give us some different color themes, backgrounds that we could use. Like I said, Carla, I will CC you on that email.
Okay.
Speaking of themes, action item from everyone for the whole committee to think about some things for the ceremony, taglines, that sort of thing. Another action item from me is to get headshots for all the staff. And there was something else that I had here. Oh, and action item for the committee, brainstorm a keynote speaker.
Right, and the first one we have is Underwood. David's got canned, so we need to.
And then Joe's gonna work on getting pictures of events from commissioners.
So, when is the deadline for sending people in for nominations?
31st.
of the month?
Next Wednesday, the 31st.
Wednesday.
Okay. And do we have some already in the queue?
Yes. One for sure, one pending.
And those, we keep those under hat until we go to?
Yes.
I'm not saying who, just that we do have some.
No, Dominique, in the beginning, I may have said who. We weren't being recorded yet, right?
No.
Okay, not until it came to order.
Right, exactly.
I messed up and said who, but okay. Yeah, we're trying to keep them under hat. And our meeting, when we start going through those, we have a format that Rod will help us with.
Yep, because that's to be closed session, yes.
We have to open it and then close it, and
Mhm.
then open it back up to close it.
All right, so anything else? Are we all set?
We'll think of all the things afterwards, and then we'll pester you for the rest of the week.
And another thing, I will go to Valerie, because now that we have a solid plan, I can give that to her so she can start letting us know. I think we're good because we started early on this. And she can let us know, what capacity they have as far as and that's what she said, just as long as she knows as soon as possible to schedule in their studio and make sure that their staff is available.
Okay. And you think that's going to start as early as June?
Yep, because we might as well get on top of it. We'll have everything by May, so might as well start recording as much as we can come June.
Okie dokie. Sounds like a plan to me so far. What do you think, Mr. David?
Good.
All righty.
Cool.
Okay, so we're good to adjourn, committee chairs.
Adjourned.
Adjourned.
All righty, in that case, everyone have a great day. Carla, I will send out that doodle poll
Okay, thank you.
this
Okay,
afternoon.
perfect.
And I will see you all, some of you probably next week at the meeting, and if not, have a great weekend.
All right.
Thank you, you
you.
too.
Welcome.
See ya.
Great
Bye.
idea, everybody. Appreciate it.